Welcome back, folks. This is Suave, and today we're going to be finishing out the last 4 chapters of Eden's Zero Volume 8. We're not going to waste any more time, so let's get right to it. Chapter 65, The Swordswoman Incapacitated. We got Pino up on the ship. She's drawing some cute little characters about the rest of the crew, but it looks like she wasn't really programmed to know how to draw. She's doing like some little childish doodles. It's still pretty cute though. So we actually left off at a pretty crazy spot last time. Shiki was fighting Madame Kurenai, and Weiss and Rebecca were fighting Baku and Nino. And we come back over here to Homura. Homura has been here sitting this whole time in front of her previous master's body. We have Valkyrie here just still in the same pose. Homura is still trying to mourn after her. And then we get this warden, Garrett, coming back into the fray. And it turns out that the paralysis that was on his whip has different levels of effectiveness. So Homura is now feeling that slow paralysis that's now kicking in. And Garrett's trying to take advantage of this. He's trying to taunt everything in front of Homura, basically kicking Valkyrie's body aside. And this is really triggering Homura. She wants to be able to fight back, but at this moment she can't because she's paralyzed. But then all of a sudden we get this crazy shot where Homura is activating this wild attack where you get multiple of these swords and multiple swords that Valkyrie used to wield. And this is sort of the same sort of stance that Valkyrie had back when she was fighting those creatures. And now she's doing her own Odin strike. And this is going to be crazy because we got all these swords raining down on Garrett all of a sudden. However, it's not that easy to get rid of Garrett. He dodged the attacks, went behind Homura, tied her up, and now she's not able to use her Ether Gear ability anymore. Unfortunately for Gary, there is one little detail that he just noticed, and that is the sword of Valkyrie that she was holding this whole time was now missing. And he has no idea what is going on. But then we see this little scene where he knows now what happened. She wasn't aiming for Garrett. In fact, Homura knew what was going to happen. She was aiming for the swords as well as Garrett. And the swords knocked up Valkyrie's original sword. And that is now in the air, coming down and stabbing Garrett right through the chest. And that is probably the coldest, but probably the most deserving kill that we've gotten so far. Chapter 66, Gravity's Gonna Crush You. And if I'm not mistaken, this might be Rebecca's thighs that we're looking at here. We got Happy in the middle. That's why I'm thinking it's Rebecca. If not, this might just be like a random barmaids when they were over at the casino. But you never know where Happy's hanging out. But regardless, it's a pretty nice shot. So now we're back to Shiki versus Madame Kurenai inside that Kurenai Dragoon. And so we get the shot where Shiki is dodging around. We got laser beams flying around everywhere. Shiki's trying to dodge everything. And we get this homing missile, this Quinn Nova missile, coming straight for Shiki. And here's where I knew the battle was going to play out. Shiki's just probably going to fly around. It's going to keep chasing him. And then he's just going to land on the Dragoon and then dodge at the last minute. But according to Madame Kurenai, the Dragoon's weapons won't damage its own armor. And so Shiki has other plans for this, something that I did not expect. He actually catches that missile right in his palms right before it impacts him, and he's using his gravity powers to pretty much hold it in place. And now he's using the momentum of that missile and using his body to use the gravity to crush the mech down with pure gravity force. And we get this awesome double spread with the gravity impact, and you can see that Shiki's back to that demonic looking form, and it is looking amazing right now. This is where you know Madame Kurenai is down for the count. She's there, she's helpless, the mech is destroyed, and now you have Shiki with his demonic looking form just standing above her, looking down on her as she's there just waiting helplessly to see what he's gonna do next. So it looks like everybody saved the day. Every villain has been defeated, and now Shiki is rolling up with the prize in his hands. Homura is there standing with the gang, and she sees none other than her mother, Madame Kurenai, being dragged to her in front of her. And this is where things are going to start getting really heated. Chapter 67, Someone to Love. This is a nice creative little cover page. We have a chibi looking Rebecca with her cat ears and a cute little outfit. And even the planet in the background is like a cat shaped planet. And we have some other cool looking planets in the background. It's like a nice little happy momentum shot we got going on here. Alright, let's get right to it. So Madame Kurenai has been dragged here in front of Homura, dragged here in front of the masses, and the crowd really wants to give it to Madame Kurenai themselves. However, everyone's trying to say, or at least Shiki's trying to tell everybody, that this is Homura's decision. This is all because of Valkyrie, and Homura is here representative as Valkyrie's pretty much protege, and also she is the daughter of Madame Kurenai, so she is the one who should be able to decide the fate of her own mother, of Madame Kurenai. And we get this cool little device that Homura brings out when she's talking to Madame Kurenai. So I guess this is something like a little inventory where you can place things inside, and when you want to bring it out, it just sort of laser prints it out for you. So I thought that was pretty cool. But nonetheless, we got this little gerbil looking toy that I guess was supposed to be the connection that Homura had with her mother, because this is something that her mother gave her. However, we find out that Madame Kurenai does not recognize this thing at all, and that's when Homura decides that there is nothing left for her. There is nothing left that connects her and her mother, and she has to sever the ties. And so she goes in for the cut, and it turns out that she was cutting off the ropes that were tying Madame Kurenai down. At the end of the day, Homura still realizes that this person is her flesh and blood mother. She is thankful that she was here in order to give birth to Homura, and she is the reason why Homura is able to stand on this ground today. However, she does not forgive anything that her mother has done ever since then, and she wants her to be out of her life forever. And she gives her the darkest looking look ever, and Madame Kurenai is absolutely scared and shocked at this, and she just goes running for the hills. Unfortunately, she gets knocked out conscious from, I guess she got hit in the face with a bat from this one dude, and it turns out that it's the dude who got burned in the face by Madame Kurenai herself. And so he has his little gang, and now they are here ready to pretty much punish Madame Kurenai for everything that she's done. And unfortunately, it doesn't look good for Madame Kurenai, because it looks like these guys are about to have their way with her, and that's pretty much the last thing we see of her. All I'm gonna say is that's a really good plot line for Doujinshi. I'll be there if someone makes it. And we get this nice poetic ending with Homura and Valkyrie, because you gotta remember, this whole reason this all started was because Valkyrie wanted to go find Homura's mother and bring her back to her. But this whole time, we all knew that Valkyrie was the real mother figure for Homura. She was there to help her raise her when she was little and helpless, and Valkyrie was there to do everything to make sure that Homura was able to grow up healthy and be able to protect herself. And that's exactly what she did, and Homura recognizes her as her own mother. Chapter 68, Valkyrie, and here we have a very simple cover page with sister and witch staring at each other, and it looks simple at first, but we're gonna see how this scene plays out near the end of the chapter. So now we get to the tough scene where everybody's back on the Eden Zero, and Shiki is here having to explain to everybody that Valkyrie is no longer with them. She is gone forever, and sister and witch, or at least sister's, having a tough time believing all this. However, that leads to another problem. We have only 3 of the 4 shining stars, which means we can't get out of the Sakura Cosmos. But then we get this sudden declaration from Homura herself, saying that if they need a shining star, then she will become the next Valkyrie. She will hold that mantle, and she will become the 4th shining star that they need. Now, personally, I don't know how this works, because in my head, I thought that at least these 4 shining stars were special because they had something implanted in them which gave them certain accesses to the ship, maybe. Because I remember, I'm going to see if I can go back to that one page where we got that vault, the 3173, and I forgot that actually stood for Ellie. I think it was the same numbers, but regardless, I'll put it up here. And I think in order to open that vault, you needed the 4 shining stars. Now, in my head, I don't think that vault is going to open if Homura just stands here and declares herself the 4th shining star. I think that there's actually something that these 4 shining stars need, and that's something that's like programmed inside them that lets them get through that door. And there might be some other accesses too that just don't work the way that Homura's wanting to do it. I mean, I think it's still going to work to get out of the cosmos, because basically they need just a strong person to protect the ship, and Homura's going to be that strong swordsman to be able to protect the ship and get out of the Sakura Cosmos. Now, as far as what's going to happen with the vault and everything else that's locked maybe behind some sort of digital lock that was needed for Valkyrie, that maybe might have been programmed inside of her, I have no idea, because that body is still down in Sunjewel. So I don't know if they're gonna go back to Sunjewel and grab that body when they need it, but at least for now, that's where my head is going, where it's alright for me that Homura is the new Valkyrie, she's the 4th shining star, but I don't think it's gonna technically play out in certain aspects in my head that I'm thinking of right now, but we'll see what happens moving forward. And then we cut back over to Drac and Joe. So this was kind of bothering me too as to why they weren't being attacked by him yet. But it turns out the 3 shining stars that were on board at the time, they kind of probably knew that they were being tracked down by Draken Joe, or at least somebody was targeting them. So they laid down this little trap, not really much of a trap, it was more of a decoy. They put a little digital copy of the Eden Zero, and unfortunately Draken Joe and his crew fell for it. So it's going to be much harder to be able to track down and capture the Eden Zero than Draken Joe first thought. And here we have the final scene of Volume 8, and that is probably the hardest hitting scene of them all too. We got Witch and Sister, both of them here. They're trying to pretty much remember everything about Valkyrie. Sister is trying to confront Witch herself, saying, how can you be so calm about this whole situation? When in reality, Witch herself was really crying underneath that whole helmet, and she really can't hold back the tears anymore. And then we get this final emotional scene with Witch and Sister both hugging it out as they're trying to remember their fallen comrade. And I think that's going to wrap it up for the Sun Jewel arc. We got Shiki. He was able to fight off Madame Kurenai, liberate the entire planet of Sun Jewel. We also got more fighting capabilities for both Weiss and Rebecca. I think Weiss was kind of tinkering around with the armor up in the Eden Zero, and then when it's all done, he was able to go down to Sun Jewel and help out. Rebecca got her new Ether Gear ability unlocked, and that's going to be huge moving forward for her. And, you know, there's just a whole lot of awesome world building, and, you know, we're going to see what's going to happen with Homura now declaring herself as the fourth shining star. And it's just going to be a fun adventure moving forward. I'm really happy that I got to experience it this far so far in Eden Zero, and we're trying to move forward as fast as we can because I do want to catch up with you all. And I think currently, as of right now, I think it's up to chapter 141, and we just did, I think it was 68 chapters. So we're getting pretty far up there. We're almost up there, and I'm going to try to do this as much as possible until we get caught up. So that once we do get caught up, we can start doing those weekly videos with one chapter, and I can start doing a whole lot of crazy editing with just one chapter a week. It's going to be really awesome when we get there. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think about what's going on so far in Eden Zero. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, because we are going to be continuing on with Volume 9 next week. So with that being said, I will see you all next time. Bye, everyone.